Republican Senator Ron Johnson, who is a member.
Yeah, Abbey is Abbott, by the way.
Yeah, is a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Now, I know I think Ron John would, right? Is that, if they use that, Senator, or senators really don't like nicknames, probably, right?
Well, they use that in the campaign, but good morning, guys.
It's already taken. That's right. It's a surf shop. It's already, we can't do it. Where do you want to start, Senator? I mean, we don't want to just hear your side of the aisle's analysis of all the things that Obama's done wrong in Iraq. I mean, obviously, it was kind of broken before he got even into office. So what do we do to try and fix it, do you think?
Well, it was stable when we came into office, and now our job needs to be to maintain any stability in the region that exists. And right now, I think that's in Kurdistan. So I think we need to do whatever we can for the Kurds up in the north just to make sure that that doesn't get overrun by ISIS. Help those folks actually take their oil to market over time. What I'm afraid is going to happen here, and I think what we're seeing right now is, as the Wall Street Journal termed it, the establishment of the state of Al-Qaeda-stan. Very dangerous for the world situation, but we really lost what influence we had in Iraq when we bugged out in 2011. And so, we got to recognize our role in the world is to provide stability where we can. Right now, in terms of what remains of Iraq, I think it's providing stability up in the northern region.
Senator, good morning. Harold Ford. Does that call for America to help provide stability involve the sending of U.S. troops? I would differ with you on the stability back before President Obama came in, and instability, but put that aside for a moment. One thing that was present when your talk about stability in Iraq was that we had a big troop presence. Should we recommit more troops and be willing to risk American lives to create the stability you want in Iraq?
Well, I don't think we're going to go on the offensive. And right now it's about being on the defense. We need to protect the 5,000 Americans that are basically in Baghdad, which is going to help hopefully stabilize the Baghdad region as well. We certainly don't want to see Baghdad fall. If we have to send some military advisors into Kurdistan, the northern region there, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Listen, I want to do whatever I can to help President Obama, and when Secretary of State Kerry gets back, see what his report is, and try and be as supportive as possible to do what we can. But again, we lost our influence. This is a disaster. I don't believe it was a disaster that could have happened. This really is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. We can relitigate all that, but right now it's what's the reality situation? It's not good. This is a pretty grim situation. We need to do whatever we can to contain the Al-Qaeda forces that are like say establishing a pretty strong base. They're basically setting up governance in these regions now. This is a tragedy.
Sarah, let's switch gears quickly, because you were a business owner, and I think, we've spoken about this, and we've gotten to know each other, and you had really the Tea Party or some representatives came to you with the idea of running, and you won, and now you're almost a seasoned vet at this point in the Senate. But, the way you got elected versus what's going to happen in November of this year and then in 2016, do you have a formula for what the Republican Party needs to do? Because you can have all these great ideas, but if you don't get elected, you can't do any of them. How do you win back seats in 2014, and how do you win back the White House in 2016?
I think we need to tell the American people what we're for. From my standpoint, we really do share the same goal here in America. We want a prosperous America. We want every American to have the opportunity to build a good life for themselves or family. And I think the overall, conceptually, what we need to do is we have to make America an attractive place for risk-taking, for business investment, business expansion, job creation. How do you do that? Well, you have to benchmark your competitive factors with those of the rest of the world. We have to have a competitive tax environment. We don't have one. Right now, our tax system is driving American companies overseas. It's certainly not allowing American capital to come back.
Here's what I know: all the private sector. I agree with all that stuff. I understand. But during the debates, when the party's going to be fighting with itself about who the real Republican Party is, where are social issues going to be there? What do we do with immigration if we want to, if the Republicans want to get the Hispanic vote at this point? Where do you come down on that? What do you do with gay marriage? What do you do with these social issues that one part of the party seems is so important, but makes it, the other people think it makes it less likely to be able to have the entire nation vote for a Republican? What do you do?
Well, from my standpoint, I think we're at a moment of triage in this country. You know, we have to understand that we're really mortgaging our kids' future. And so from my standpoint, it's really the fiscal issues, the economic issues that overweigh all the other ones.
But
We need to respect
people. People that might be a Republican, that might vote Republican, are going to want to know about those social issues before they're going to vote for you purely on economic terms. So, I mean, I hear the far right say there was no Senator, or there was no President Dole, there was no President McCain, and there was no President Romney, because you ran moderates. But then you look at what happened, why Harry Reid is still a senator, because they ran, someone unelectable there. You look at what happened in Delaware. What's the right mix for the Republican Party to garner the most votes that it can?
Well, I think we first have to recognize that these social issues are going to primarily be decided in the states through a democratic process, and that's the way it should happen. And then I'll certainly go with the judgment of the American people in terms of where they want to fall on whether it's abortion issues or whether it's gay marriage or whatever. Let the voters decide that, and I think that's probably the most appropriate place. Generally, these things aren't really decided on a national basis, but from standpoint of immigration, we've got a lot of migrant workers in Wisconsin. I've never had a migrant worker ask me for citizenship. They just don't want us to deport their moms and dads or husbands and wives. I don't think we're going to do that. We need to actually solve this problem. We need a functioning legal immigration system. The way you secure your borders is you eliminate or certainly reduce all the incentives for illegal immigration. So you have to have a functioning guest worker program and things like E-Verify. We have to really be concerned about the southern border in Mexico, because that's right now where most of these young people are coming from because of all the violence in places like Guatemala. So these are huge challenges. This is a point in time where we really got to concentrate on the big issues. Try not to let the other issues that really aren't going to be decided in the federal government. Let's not let those take over our elections.
I know you want to avoid talking about the social issues, but on gay marriage, Joe had a tough conversation with Governor Perry last week on that very issue, and it is a defining issue for so many people.
I understand that, and again, that'll be, and it already is working its way through the states. You're having state government after state government, vote for gay marriage, and in the end, we're going to let the voters decide that. I think that's the best way of doing it. On all these social issues, these are arguments that should be taking place between individuals, and let people win the hearts and minds of Americans, and let the voters decide.
Senator, where are you on gay marriage, by the way?
Well, I'm a pretty traditional guy. I'm almost 60 years old. I think marriage is between a man and a woman. But again, if the voters decide that they want gay marriage, I'm not going to oppose it.
No.
Look, I think that is part of the challenge that Republicans are going to have. You said it best, Joe, from the outset. They get in the middle of these presidential debates, and they have these huge fights about who can be the most from the 1940s and the 1950s. The country is progressing. Not to disparage Senator Johnson and all, but the country is in a different place on a lot of these issues, on women's issues, on marriage issues, on immigration, civil rights across the board. So until they can get comfortable there and appeal to the mainstream of the country, I think they're going to, this prosperity argument, most Americans will tune it out.
But Harold,
listen, what America is looking for is security. And I think we need to point out that, our ideas are going to provide them greater security. And let's face it, President Obama, you take a look at his record, he's reduced our job security, our income security, our retirement security, our health care security, and now we're seeing his policies are reducing our national security. So I don't want to totally run a negative campaign. We have to show the reality of the situation, how those policies haven't worked. We've got to show the American people what we're for and how our policies will actually create the opportunity, the types of jobs, the strong middle class that Americans are really craving.
Well, last time, Harold, it was not this in the Republican debates. It was Gingrich trashing private equity, which gave the left a perfect inroad into how to defeat Romney, basically. Remember, and even like Senator Booker now said it made him sick the way it was done last time, and a lot of people on the left did not like the way business was sort of taken out to the woodshed just to win another election. Right?
I don't disagree with any of that. And there are probably some things that Ron Johnson and I agree on when it comes to ways to pass policy to promote and encourage investment, innovation, and growth. But we talk about security, Senator. If you are a gay American and you believe the Republican Party doesn't want to protect you in your home, that's a fundamental security for you. If you're a woman, you're concerned about
Senator,
that. I don't disagree, but you got to get to that point.
Issue. I'm all about what do we agree on. Let's sit down and figure out what it is we agree on. And I think, again, we agree on trying to get a prosperous America. Let's concentrate on that.
But okay, Senator, it's an interesting time to be an American in the political scene, isn't it? So we'll see.
It's interesting, no doubt about it.
Because we've tried it this way for 6 years or so. So we'll see that. And pendulums do seem to swing at times. Anyway, Senator, thanks. We appreciate it. Ron John's
Have a great
taking.
day.
Yeah, that's a surf shop. So we're just going to have to go with Senator Johnson.
We'll go with Senator for now.